Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2023 edition of the Star Sports Press Zoom Room, where we get the so-called experts' views of what will happen on Saturday night come the big final. Thank you all for joining me. We'll go sort of through you one by one to get your thoughts. But first of all, Andy, I wanted to come to you and just say, what do you think of the quality of this year's derby and how it's all gone for you? Because there must have been times earlier in the year where you had concerns, but how do you assess it overall now?
Yeah, listen, we had a few logistical issues before the event got started, but listen, it's going to be a cracking final Saturday. There's some, win or lose, there's several superstars in that lineup, and it's going to be one to save for sure. Listen, it's going to be the place to be on Saturday night, absolutely. But having said that, I'll be glad when it's all over. I can have a lay down.
I'm sure a well-deserved rest. I'm going to get all your thoughts on who you think the idea of the winner is. And obviously, if you're going for a shorter price dog, maybe tell us any kind of value bets you might be having as well. Let's come to you first, Joe Conneely of Racing Post TV. Who do you fancy and why?
Well, I'm sitting on Gaytime Nemo at 80s, so I'm happy that he's made it through. I think the draws worked out really well for everyone, bar probably Clone and Duke. If he was inside Swords Rex, then I think it'd be the absolute ideal draw for everyone. I think he's got a really nice draw, Gaytime Nemo, and I think 10-1. I think I've seen 10-11s. I think it's too big. I think he'll be a bit shorter on the night. He'll lead Cachise if he comes away. His best sectional so far, 4-12, has come out of Trap 2 in the first round. He's getting better and better in terms of he hadn't had much racing coming into the comp, as we heard Nicky say yesterday. He should be fully at it now on Saturday, and I think he's got a good draw. I'd have him leading Romeo Command if they broke level. He'll lead Cachise, and just hoping for a bit of a slow start from Swords Rex, and if he can turn him for it, then again nothing to catch him. Whatever leads in his final, you'd imagine he's going to go on to win. It's that good, these 500-meter dogs now. You've got to stay, and they're so difficult to come from behind to beat the best, and it's a fantastic final. It really is. And again, we say it's a well balanced draw, but I'm going to stick with Gaytime Nemo. I think 80-1, I was more than happy with, and I think 10-1 in the finals a big price. I really do.
I'm actually really glad you mentioned Gaytime Nemo and in fact selected him, because he is, well worthy of a good mention. He's going a little bit under the radar given the other two dogs that the Holland camp have in the final. And Ian, I just wanted to give a mention as well to Nicky Holland. She puts in the hard yards, and what an achievement for the Holland camp to get 3-3 to the final.
Yeah, listen, for a decade or more, we're talking about the Holland team over here. Riverside Kennels, what they've achieved in the last 10 years has been simply incredible. It took them a while to win their first English Derby last year with Romeo Magical. I fully expect them to win a second one this year, but they've won 3 or 4 Irish Derbies in the last few years. Every classic they've basically won. This year alone, they've won the Easter Cup, the Kirby Memorial. They have leading contender in Cork and Cullen. They've won the Select Stakes, and here they are with 3 in the final. It's incredible. In fairness to Graham and to Nicky, while Graham gets the plaudits, Nicky gets plenty of, plaudits too, but they both will claim that it's a team operation. And they were both over in Toaster the night, but they had runners in 2 or 3 other tracks, winners in 2 or 3 other tracks. They put it down to teamwork, and they clearly have a very, very talented team down there. I know Davy Sutton's down there. I know all the Holland children are involved, and then others. So, it's not a fluke, and it's why it keeps happening over and over again. It's not down to luck. It's down to absolute sheer persistence and just skill. They're very good at what they do, and as a result, they have 3 in the final of the English Derby. But I did agree with you. Yeah, Nicky used to throw herself, or was sort of put out in front of the camera more often than not. But Graham's getting better at it, and I do think people are realizing, both sides of the Irish pond, that you have to put yourself out there. You have to sort of get in front of the camera and speak up for both our sport and of course your own kennel.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve Nash, you've been there taking photos every single night of the Derby, and obviously trial stakes as well. Who do you want to be photographing on the podium come Saturday night?
Well, I hope it's Romeo Command, because that's the bet I've had. We enjoyed a very nice launch to the Derby, and we spoke at length about the various chances of dogs, and Ian was very strong on the Irish Challenge then, and it turned out to be absolutely right as well. I'm on big at Romeo Command. All my other bets have bitten the dust, unfortunately. I'm a little bit like Joe in the fact that Swords Rex is clearly the one to beat. I mean, you don't have to be an expert to say that. He's been so consistent with his early pace. It's not just the speed that he's showing, that all-round pace and class that he's clearly got. He's got the draw as well. I think the draw is pretty good for all of them. Perhaps Clone Duke's, as everyone will say, is probably the wrong side of the favourite. But I'm actually with Joe, but not with Gaytime Nemo. I'm actually hoping that Romeo Command comes away, because I think trap 3 is a good draw for him. I know that Patrick's very keen that if he can get the break out of him, he did do it in the 3rd round. He did the fastest time in the 3rd round when faster than Swords Rex and Clone Duke that night. And if he can come away like that again, he got a good break out of Thorn Falcon, before, when that was better early than we expected. If he can conjure up the same sort of break from Romeo Command, Patrick's very confident the dog could go really, really fast. And I've always been drawn by Romeo Command because he's got a great determination to win as well, which is why he ran up such a great sequence of good all-round pace. He starts and he stays. He hasn't got that earlier Swords Rex though, or Clone Duke. Clone Duke broke the track record twice. I'm hoping the Romeo Command might get away to a good start and get the inside line. And if he can get anywhere near Swords Rex and Clone Duke round the first couple of bends, then he's going to fly down the back, and it will be a real test for the favourite. But you can't get away from the favourite in my view. I'm torn between the two, but betting wise, I'd probably still edge towards Romeo Command purely on value grounds and the fact that I think that dog could just get away from 3. Just very briefly, I think Cochise is overpriced from trap 1. If there's any crowding in the race, he stays, and he could be on the premises at the first bend. So I think he's 33 is too big for that. But great final, and I'll be interested to hear other people's views on what they fancy.
Well, I like it, Steve. The Englishman goes for the sole British bred finalist. Hobbs, are you going to show the same loyalty?
How's baby Jules?
So I can hear her upstairs crying. She's with Dad.
Good form. Look, I'll be waving the St George's flag around. Of course I will be. And I think they've done amazing. I mean, Cochise is just this monster of a dog. Cesaret's champion, and that would be some sort of feat, wouldn't it? Ninja Kerry, I don't think, hasn't won a round, but Sussex Cup champion, again, has done brilliantly. And for young Belinda Green, I think it's just sensational. It's sort of capping an extraordinary year for her. And then Patrick, been there, done it. I just think for me, I think if they had been the other way round, I'd be all over Clone Duke. And I'm probably going to still be over Clone Duke. I still haven't made my mind up. You want to get me to get off that fence, I'll get off that fence, don't worry. But yeah, I mean, they've done nothing wrong, those two. And as much as I'd be delighted for Joe and his anti-post tip with Gaytime Nemo, I still think Cochise, he traps like a sprinter sometimes, and he's a big dog to get round. So Gaytime Nemo is going to have to be really sharp. Likewise, Romeo Command has got to be sharp from the boxes. Remember, Patrick said that Thorn Falcon completely missed his break in the semi-finals when he won 2 years ago, and then we know what he did in the final. So don't be too surprised if he goes bingo. But even if he does, he doesn't have that burst of early pace. He's got an incredible burst of middle, but the Swords Rex and Clone Duke have got. And the Clone, we know, has had those kind of trapping issues and what have you, but he has got that just mind-blowing burst of pace. And if he was the other side of Swords Rex, you'd be more confident, but I still think that he might just be too good. And I just think he's coming to the ball nicely. And I've been with Swords Rex every single round, but I just think come the final, he's just got that little bit extra. But in a clean run race, as was the case probably with the semi-finals, you just think the two Irish dogs can do it. 2 of the 3 Irish dogs, I should say. And so I would say Clone Duke to beat Swords Rex.
Amazing. And yet Swords
Rex, as much as I'd be the first on the phone when one of the UK based dogs, win. If they did, it would be fantastic and magnificent. And I'd begrudgingly send the trophy back to Fortune's land, So, but yeah, no, absolutely, it'd be great for those guys as well if they won.
Swords Rex, of course, the anti-post favourite, and none of you have actually gone for Swords Rex yet. But we'll come to a man who has, because Lofty, I read it in the Racing Post, who you think will win. So you can tell us why you think Swords Rex, and maybe just give us a bit of a rundown of how you're going to be betting these dogs come Saturday.
Bit boring, Julie, being with a favourite, but yeah, look, I mean, he's done nothing wrong at all. As he's got the pedigree. He was a Kirby winner, as a youngster, as a pup. I mean, maybe lost his way a little bit, and he reappeared and did the most ridiculous run at Shelbourne Derby Farmer night last year. I think he got something like 27.77
beat Hiltford, Ozark, who's not exactly a slouch 8 lengths, and just show the quality of that run. Won the Easter Cup. He's obviously come here. He's had one little sight of the track, and since then, simply not seen the dog. I think it's not so much the fact he's not an electric trapper, it's just that brute early pace he's got. I mean, the minute the paws hit the ground, he might even miss the break half a beat, but the early speed he's got is just tremendous. And I think everything's going to be going virtually in a straight line up to the corner here. And, I think you can't really see him not leading at the first bend unless it's a complete catastrophe misbreak or something else takes an absolute flyer. He's just sort of bomb-proof in all these rounds so far. And as you said, I think the danger is him getting drawn maybe the wrong side of Clona Duke, who can sometimes take a step out to the right of the boxes. But thankfully, Clona Duke's drawn outside him. And I think the draws worked out perfectly. Ben's obviously on about draws and other people have been doing draws. And I think Ben's drawn them out there. And I think everybody really be quite happy with the box at the day they've got. I will say about Chiefs, I think, again, he's massively overpriced at 33. He has been trapping out now and again. Trap one probably actually would be ideal for him because, he's not going to lead to the corner. But you can see if they all go to the bend, a bit of schmozzling on the outside, then it ain't beyond the rounds of possibility. You can see him sort of appearing off the second bend, certainly in second. There's astute missile vibes there about him, I always thought, and he went off a big price. I remember watching that first derby back at Toaster with Ben and seeing astute missile taken up down the back straight, and obviously with late Irish shade for fortunes, and me saying to Ben, they won't get to it. They won't get to it. They won't get to it. And, he had that 5.75 form. Obviously, I think Kachis is a stronger stayer than astute missile was. But yeah, 33 to 1 is ridiculously overpriced for him. I also think if you can get on with the numerical firm with the days of the year, they're betting 3 places, and I think 33 to 1 3 places is a real fair bet. On the night, it'll probably be about 20. It'll still be about a 25 shot of steal on the night. I think Swords Rex will definitely be odds on. I know Ian's mentioned about it before the draw. Even seeing the draw, he was odds against a couple of firms. We thought on the night it'd be odds on. I haven't seen the draw. It'll definitely be odds on now. Romeo Command, Patrick's got dogs to come out in the Derby final before. You say with Thorn Falcon, obviously Collier Icon was dog in that final, and he absolutely blew down the bars and then was outpaced by Thorn Falcon to the corner. So Patrick can certainly get him out. You stay back in the days, it was Charlie Lister who got him out. Charlie gets him out in the final, but Patrick certainly proved the pedigree there as well. But you've got to really see Romeo Command turn in front to pick up some of these speedsters that are there. So yeah, I'm going to be boring, but I think Swords Rex for me is the most obvious winner. I just think Kachis is very, very much overpriced. For Joe's bet, Daytime Nemo, I think he'd be slightly better drawn further out. His one good run was out in track 5 when he led up and went round in front of the quarterfinals. He was pretty well back there as well. But as you say, I think the draw slightly near the fence maybe is not what he wants. So I'm going to be boring. Ben said to me yesterday at the draw, so probably what an act of God or to get this dog beat. I was like, well, it ain't that bad, Ben, for an anti-post situation. But I think we'll be landing a lot of odds on them tonight anyway. But yeah, looking forward to a really good final and just made the best dog win. Thanks, for they all come home safe and sound, which is the main thing.
Well, I think maybe it's more open in the betting sense because you're the first person to actually tip Swords Rex so far. Kaan, who are you with?
Well, as far as I go, I look down the list and you try and make cases for all the dogs. I just can't get past Swords Rex. Everything, I mean, his CV stacks up to the very best. He's been in every big competition you could think of. He had a little bit of should we say a lean spell around the Irish Derby time last year for whatever reason. But he's been there and done it already in all these big competitions. He's 23 wins, I think, now from 38 starts against the very best on both sides of the water. The interesting one I kept looking at is, I mean, we're all mentioning Kachis being a big price on the rails. Ninja Kerry could just be keeping itself out of the way on the outside. And a couple of the firms will be looking to put up some specials for the weekend, whether they do handicap distances on the race, whether they put to finish in a certain position. Certainly a dog I'd be looking at, Ninja Kerry, because it's just started to consistently trap well. It's obviously the sole middle seed. Obviously, it's in the stripes. I mean, it generally prefers the 5. I just think it could be edging across a little bit, out the way, out in the stripes. But Swords Rex, I mean, he's absolutely sensational. Every round, he's just gone bingo. He's as Lofty said, when his feet touch the sand, it's just absolutely glorious to see. I mean, it's a great final. And as we've said many times, they're probably all delighted with their boxes. I mean, you'd just be happy to be in the final. I certainly would be. But yeah, Swords Rex, just can't get away from him. I thought he'd be odds on pre-draw. So I was very, very shocked to see him go up, I think 5 to 4 with a few firms pre-draw. And obviously he's about the right price now, 5 to 6, I think, best in a place.
What a CV he's got already. Last year's Kirby champion and won this year's Easter Cup as well. Now goes in the Derby final. I know Swords Rex has impressed you throughout, Andy. Are you with him for the final?
Well, I don't really boring like Lofty, but I'm listen. He's an absolute superstar this ground, isn't he? I mean, the 406 splits last couple of rounds. He is electric. I mean, if he gets it right, there's going to be no catching him. I fancy a big run from the 6-dog Ninja Kerry. To be fair, Clona Duke, I think, does go a little bit left. Could create a little bit of room for Ninja Kerry. Big price perhaps each way. Could be a bit of value, but to be fair, my head probably says it's just going to be a shootout to the bend. Whatever leads run out first bend, I think we'll get it. And on splits alone, then yes, I think you have to be with Swords Rex. But I'm hoping for a big run from Ninja Kerry. Lovely trainer, Belinda Green, deserves a bit of luck as well. There's no slouch. Sussex Cup winner, wasn't he, Ninja Kerry? So he's no mug. So yeah, my head says Swords Rex, my heart says Ninja Kerry. We love an outsider.
So 3 votes for Swords Rex, 1 Gaytime Nemo, 1 Clona Duke, and 1, of course, Romeo Command. So plenty of Englishmen here going for Irish dogs, Ian. There is no rivalry here. Do not feel like you have to go for an Irish selection.
Yeah, I think Swords Rex will beat Clona Duke and Gaytime Nemo in third. I listen. Clona Duke won the select stakes out of Trap 5. That is worth pointing out. It's not that he needs to be in the middle of the track or the inside. It's just to give him the best chance of victory. He needed to probably be on the inside of Swords Rex and get first run. It is worth pointing out he did a 398 sectional the first night he broke the track record. If he produces that sort of a start again, Clona Duke is a huge player. He's very talented, and he's had his dip in the competition. He was under the weather in the 3rd round, and he ran like it. He ran much better in the quarterfinals. And then last week, we saw exactly how good he can be and will be, because he is a future superstar in himself. And if he did pop out and win on Saturday night, it would be no surprise to me. I think he's really going places. I think he's an exceptional greyhound. But Swords Rex is a dog who relishes racing. He loves it. He had a slight issue last year around Derby time in Shelburne. We didn't see the best of him. And it took him a while to find that form. Lofty alluded to that 27.79 run in Shelburne, one of the fastest ever runs at Shelburne Park. This year, he ran well through the Easter Cup without actually, really taking off in it, and then came to Toaster. And it was evident even the night he was beaten in the first trial stake that this place is going to suit him, because he showed all sorts of pace that night in defeat. And I pressed up on him that night because it just looked like, right, when he gets the trapping right here, he's going to take off. Bang, 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 bang. 5 races later, here we are, English Derby finally. He basically hasn't seen a rival. He's been sensational. And a few of the lads have alluded to it. He's a good trapper. Only 1 run, I can say he really pinged the lids. But it's that immediate acceleration that gets them to the front. And with Romeo Command on his immediate inside and Clona Duke on his immediate outside, both of which are capable of going up fast, but aren't what you'd call consistent pingers, it just looks like Swords Rex is going to get a lovely run to the corner. I think he'll be in front. I've tipped him up at the start of the competition. I'm not going to leave him now. I also tipped up Clona Duke. I won't leave him either. I'll stick him to be second. And I do think that Gaytime Nemo should be a shorter price than Romeo Command. From the inside draw, I think he's going to be in front of Romeo Command. And, Graham Holland has made no secret of his love for Gaytime Nemo. Like, this was a dog that hadn't run for 6 months prior to this English Derby. He looked a really talented greyhound the back end of last year. And I heard a few whispers. Graham didn't say it to me exactly, but he had said it to other people that, don't rule out Gaytime Nemo. And I just wouldn't be surprised there's 1 or 2 in the kennel that had Gaytime Nemo around the 80-1 like Joe. So just don't be surprised now if he puts in a big run. But I genuinely can't see past the top, the 3 Irish in the market. I think Cochise is a good draw. He's not going to ping like he did last week from Trap 1. I cannot make a case for Ninja Kerry, I'm sad to say. Listen, it's been a real star for them. He's the eldest statesman. I saw him running in Shelburne Park. He went through the sales at Kilkenny and wasn't sold, and was sold privately later on in his career. But just goes to show like what you can do with a dog like him. And he's been an unbelievable star for them. And to reach an English Derby, like, that really is cherry on top, because he is coming towards the end of his racing days. Romeo Command is sensationally fast. There's no question about it. We've thought that since the very early days when he was trained by Graham Holland. That's what, is mind-boggling. Graham, had him and he went across. David decided he would be better suited in the UK, and that was correct. He had 1 win from 11 starts in Ireland because that just the yard or two early that he was lacking. But for different circumstances, Graham could have the top 4 in the market. Now that would be something else. But as it is, he's trained by Patrick, and Patrick knows exactly how to get them out in the Derby. And that's your concern, that if he does take an absolute flyer, he still needs the Irish to sort of half miss it, because they do have more early speed than them, basically all 3 of them. I think Gaytime Nemo will probably hold him up on the inside. I think Swords-X will be gone. I think Clona Duke will probably turn second, and that's the way I see them finishing. So just a reminder that the 4 finals in Toaster thus far. The slowest final has been 29.06. That was Thorn Falcon. The track will be running well, and whatever does lead around that opening corner is 90% likely going to win the Derby, and I think that's Swords-X.
No rose tinted glasses there whatsoever, or green tinted glasses, I should say, maybe. So fascinating. I loved hearing your thoughts. Clearly not just about the favourites, 4 of you going for Swords-X, but sounds like there's some nice sort of each way bets to be had there as well. Guys, please enjoy Saturday night. Have a great time, and good luck to everybody involved. Thank you for joining us.
But in the end, only one can be crowned, with name engraved to become renowned. All that remains is for that one to be found.